Warrington, it's theirs to lose, it's Bradford's to win. 34-10, the Wolves. The try just before half-time will have given Steve McNamara something to talk about, but it's a long road back. They've won the last 4 home meetings with Warrington, all of them comprehensively. It will be one of the greatest comebacks in Bradford's history if they win this.
Rugby league history, I must say, is, though you could see that Steve McNamara at half-time in the dressing room camera, he was animated in as much that they must move up, get their defences sorted out. Oh.
Dear me, what a mess. What an absolute mess. This could be a try here. This could be a try for Mickey Hyam. What on earth were Bradford doing? You can't be offside in your own in goal, but surely you cannot throw the ball forward, can you? Well, he stopped it from going out, that's for sure.
But why was he not taken on the full? That's okay. That's okay. But
you're not play on, they say, and he's had a knock on there by King.
I think King just get a fingertip to it, otherwise it would have been in. You know, why didn't anybody? I mentioned so many times that they're not talking to each other. That's okay. But this is the. No, he misses it. He misses it. Tadulala hits it. This is going to be a try. King misses the ball.
Does he?
Yep. Tadulala has already forced the ball away. He certainly misses the first time. That's a miss. No, that's Tadulala hitting the football.
Why wasn't Tadulala ground that?
All he had to do was just touch it. Probably didn't realise it. Tried to scoop it away when all he had to do was just have force down on the football, dead in goal.
Well, they still play on and they're looking at everything here.
It's a try.
It's Mickey Hyam. This is the most bizarre try I think we've ever seen in Super League.
And we've seen a few over the years. It's got to be given.
Why wasn't the kick-off taken on the full? That's the question Steve McNamara will ask. They've got the try, Warrington. That is unbelievable.
Shocking.
And he cannot just believe what he has seen. That was from the kick-off. The kick-off hung high. It bounced in the in-goal area. Credit Tadulala for having a go for it.
Well, there were 3 there. Anybody shout, fellas? No.
They've lost the confidence, Eddie. What happens? You want somebody else in your team to get the ball because you're not confident you can deal with it. Oh, he's going to get it. He'll sort it out. He'll get us out of trouble. None of them go for it. You all know the results. Scoreboard man just put 4 more points on.
You can call it lack of confidence, call it what you want, but to me, it's sheer unprofessionalism. They are not responding to each other. Whose was it?
Sharif would have been better served letting it go over the line.
Of course it wouldn't, just a drop out. So he spins the roulette wheel. As you say, you've got to give him credit to at least try.
I think I gave the credit to Semi Tadulala in the first instance, but it wasn't. And there's just a bit of salt in the wound. Hicks has had the extras, 40 points to 10. Mickey Hyam's try, the most bizarre try I think we've ever seen. Oh, and Monaghan has knocked on now from the kickoff. What on earth is going on?
Well, the crowd are chanting, "Are you Bradford?" That's how disappointed they are with their own team.
Are you Bradford in disguise?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Hey, I'm around! Out!
So here is Sykes. Bradford looking to score the try.
Ball feet! No hands!
I don't think we've ever seen 2 minutes like this in the history of the Super League since 1996. Jeffries, Langley, good defence. Monaghan looking to rectify the mistake.
Wait! Go.
Langley plays the ball, Newton. This is Nick Scruton.
Move, Chris!
3 tackles gone. Newton again will come this way. Find Burgess.
Move!
Newton once more. This time fires the pass in centre field to Jeffries. Now Solomona. He goes wide and finds Platt. No way through for him.
Move!
Chris Hicks saw to that. Last tackle here for Bradford. The kick from Sykes out wide, looking for Ricky Sherif. Finds Ricky Sherif, who in turn finds King. That's a forward pass. It's head and feed to Bradford.
Pretty fortunate to get away with it as well. Did go backward. King trying to keep the ball alive. He was on his way to the touchline anyway, so relief for the Bulls.
Okay, mate. Wait, Ben.
Now, Tony Smith surely would have said at half-time, okay, we should have this game won, but let's start again. We'll make sure that our try line is not offered to this Bradford side. He'll be looking for a nil in the next 40 minutes or so.
Platt goes down. Breer's challenge. Here is Sykes. Flicks it back to Lynch. Lynch offloads the pass. On the bounce finds Newton. Bradford will come here with Burgess. Now it's with Langley. Warrington defending the line as though they're only 10-4 up rather than 40 points to 10 ahead. Newton. Jeffries. Finds Dave Halley. Halley comes back this way.
Good defence. Completely different to the Bradford defensive line. They're all in a unit. They're picking their man out.
Solomona to Jeffries. Jeffries then to Scruton. Scruton tries to go through them. Important tackle by Paul Wood. Last tackle here. Chance here. Try here. It's Solomona again.
Quick play the ball.
Solomona with the try. Well, he's come off the bench and he's made a big contribution to this match, albeit on the side that's right behind the 8 ball. But the New Zealand international, the Samoan, David Solomona, under the sticks.
They tried everything. Came back on the inside, and when they just got to it, watch how the quick play the ball. One-hand pick-up. I'm going to get there. That is smart work. Really, really good, wasn't it? It's a credit to see the man come off the bench, and at least the way he picked that up, it was just like as though it was a little orange. Bang.
Sykes adds the extras. If anyone would hold on the ball, we get a rugby league match here.
It is amazing.
I've never seen a start to a half like this.
Well, 56 points.
We'll start again.
And we're barely 5.5 minutes into the second half. This could get to 100.
Well, in our championship coverage last night, if you were with us, and I'm sure you were, you would have seen a big comeback by the Sheffield Eagles at Gateshead for 1, 2, 3, 4 tries, yes, in the last half of the game. And I just wonder whether we are going to see a comeback of epic proportions here from Bradford. As I say, if they hang on to the ball, these two sides, anything's possible. Newton with a 40-20. With a 40-20.
He's got it.
No, just failed.
Short.
Downstairs to Burley's with Richie Mathers.
Richie, it's inconceivable that Warrington could let this slip. I mean, only their own sloppiness could let that happen, surely.
Yeah, definitely. That's something we spoke about at half-time, is really turning the screw and keeping the level of performance that we've kept in the first half. And yeah, it's something that we really want to carry on in the second half.
It must be difficult when you're in such control to keep that level of concentration.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing we really spoke about, an attitude thing. We've been playing fantastic, and our defence has been great, and skill we've looked fantastic as well. And it's just a mental thing, and something we've all got to keep on control this second half.
You're having to bide your time before you get to a start with your new club. What's the story?
Yeah, I'm back full training on Monday, and with a view to play next weekend. So
you've had a hernia op, have you?
Yeah, I had a hernia op 2.5 weeks ago, and it's been great. The surgeon's done a great job, and really looking forward to getting started.
Looking to a fresh start. Looking for a fresh start, maybe.
Yeah, looking to a fresh start. You know, it's a sort of a new club and new coach, and hopefully it'll galvanise me, and you know, it'll be an enjoyable rest of the season.
Wish you all the best, Richie.
Cheers, Bill. Thanks.
Yeah, we do. Richie Mathers back under the charge of Tony Smith, who had him at Leeds, of course, and turned him into quite a force. And now he's at Warrington. Richie Mathers looking to resurrect his career at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. Meanwhile, this is Warrington on the last tackle with Monaghan's kick. Oh, and Halley has dropped that one.
Well, it was a simple take, and he knows it. And I'm afraid they're going from bad to worse. It's I suppose you could say, is it fatigue? Just a lack of concentration, not just physically but mentally as well. And under the cosh, how many times has they done that?
Head and feed then to Warrington at the scrum, and they're in possession with Monaghan. Hyam, who scored that bizarre try straight from the kick-off, gives it to Wood. Wood is handed down by Solomona. Hyam, dummy half again, and he finds Breers, who comes back this way. Carvel.
Looked a touch forward that, they've got away with it.
Hyam again, Breers, back he comes to Monaghan. Monaghan looking for the support. Has to take the tackle from Jamie Langley. Louis Anderson gives it to Breers, drops the kick on the foot, bounces, ricochets everywhere. Terry Newton picks up the pieces for the Bradford Bulls.
Good work as well from the hooker. Just ricocheted all over the place, but this has been the feature for Warrington as far as I'm concerned, is their ability to be smarter, quicker. When there's a loose ball on the floor, they've got down there much quicker than their opposition, but there was Johnny on the spot there, it had to be.
Big hit there by Vinnie Anderson. Kopjak will have felt that. Newton. Infield it comes to Andy Lynch, deputising as skipper for the injured Paul Deacon for Bradford. Newton, this is the last tackle, has to be a good kick from Sykes. It's got plenty of length on it. Don't let it bounce. Anything could happen here. It's a 40-20 this.
Yep.
This is a 40-20, a great kick from Sykes. Head and feed to Bradford.
And the crowd going to raptures. Somewhat ironic, I feel. And if you let it bounce, as we saw from the kickoff for the restart, it can put you in a lot of trouble.
Great kick from Sykes, that. Tremendous kick.
You're right, Eddie. This game is bizarre.
Here's the man who produced the 40-20, Sykes.
Solomono out wide on the left, as he is prone to do.
This is Michael Warrency, though. He'll try against Leeds on Good Friday here, did Warrency.
And to be fair, you know, every time David Solomono touches the ball, something happens. Here he is again.
Indeed so. Taking it on his own shoulders, the responsibility this time.
Hold the line! Wait!
Taglala at dummy half as he plays the ball to him. He's the Fijian, flicks it up to Kopjak. Kopjak goes without it.
Zero!
And again, another error. I really don't know what to be going through the mind of Steve McNamara, but it really has not been a great performance, both defensive-wise or with ball in hand.
Worryingly for the Bradford side is the fact that they seem to have no structure in their attack. You know, they go to the left, to the right, they're flicking inside passes. They're not really setting up for any big players to challenge this Warrington defence, and that's certainly something that Steve McNamara had approached at half-time, but the Bradford players aren't just going out and implementing that into this game.
You're right, Houston, because against Bradford, against Leeds, should I say, here on Good Friday, you know, Ben Jeffries took control out there. We haven't seen much of him doing that tonight.
No, it's very difficult when you only have one half out there. Obviously, Paul Deacon's missing tonight. But really, you know, the other players should be out there talking to Ben Jeffries. You know, Terry Newton, I think, can do a little bit more. I can't remember a dummy half run that Terry Newton's done tonight. And really, Terry needs to really take command now in this second half.
Warrington are in the ascendancy again here with Morley driving it in. They're just 10 metres away from the line. Only the first tackle this set of 6, and here comes Gareth Carvel. He turns at 29 on Tuesday, does Carvel. Now it's Breers. Pops the ball up. Good run from Bridge. Watched all the way, though, that time by Michael Platt. Breers again. And Monaghan, who away from Newton easily. Can't get away from Menzies, though. Menzies and Langley combining to bring him down. Langley, he made his debut 7 years ago this month. That's off the head of Solomona. That's play on. This is Lee Breers. He's jinking his way to the line, and Breers will score another Warrington try. Lee Breers just danced his way to the line then. Bradford simply cannot hang on to the ball, and that ricocheted off Solomona back to them. And Lee Briers, well, they welcome him back tonight because he missed both the Easter games, and he got a try in his last appearance in the Cup against York, and he got 3 goals in the last win here 3 years ago. They're on the way to another victory tonight.
You see the ricochet of Solomona, and that was neat work by Briers. When he's on form, which hasn't been too often this season, but tonight he really has shown his star quality, and it'll be very pleasing indeed for Tony Smith, the new coach. There's the incident where Solomona had the opportunity to gain possession. Nice stomach, nice step, and a nice lunge.
Well, Solomona made a play for that. Looked from up here as though it had come and just ricocheted off his body, but he did make a play for that. It would have been 6 to go for Warrington anyway, but they didn't need it, and Hicks will add the extras. It's 46 points to 16.
Andy, just all 10 meters. Yeah, all 10, yeah. Too early.
Sheer quality when he finally gets the football. Beautiful dummy, and the step. He may be in the twilight of his career, but he can certainly produce the goods when on form, and he's been that tonight.
Well, they've lost 5 of their opening 8 rounds, Bradford, before tonight. It was a 4-point margin in 3 of them, and Steve McNamara says that he believes that they are not too far away. But if it becomes a 4-point losing margin tonight, they'll, I think, treat that almost as a moral victory.
Must feel like sitting in the dentist chair at the moment. The next 26 minutes are going to be agony for him here, I think, Eddie. There's no way his side can come back for it. They may score 1 or 2 tries, but they certainly let 1 or 2 more in, the way that Warrington are playing so skillfully with the ball.
Big problems there for Louis Anderson. It looks as though he's got a rib problem. He's in considerable pain, is the second rower.
Meanwhile, brother Vinny takes it forward for Warrington. This is Mickey Hyam, finds Briers. Briers puts boot to ball. Halley pouches it this time. Flicks it up then to Ricky Sharif. And the chase had arrived, Ben Harrison and Matt King. And Hull 14-8 against Wakefield. It's a bit tighter at the KC Stadium than it is here. Tadjalala with the drive forward.
Louis Anderson off the field of play now.
Keep it down. First, keep it down.
You get the penalty, Bradford, for interference at the play of the ball.
No doubt about it. Mickey Hyam should have rolled away, failed to do that. It's taken a while for Mickey Hyam as well to settle into the Warrington outfit. It's always confusing though when they change coaches start of the season.
Whenever a team starts to recover, Eddie, it's not always a significant point at the start of a match. It can be now in the final quarter of a game. If Bradford's recovery from this low point may well start here now in the next few minutes. Good attacking backline shot. Warrington hits a hole, but Warrington have looked up from this game from the very first minute.
Yes, they have, and Adrian Morley, actually, in his pre-match interview, he almost said as much. He said that the entire world will be watching tonight on Sky, so we want to put a performance on. This is Solomona for Bradford. Tadjalala waits, Solomona wearily to his feet. Jeffries gets it to Newton, he pops it up to Langley. The Warrington defence standing firm tonight. Newton, 10 metres out. Good hands, Solomona again. Was that a knock-on by Platt? It was, says the referee.
Well, at least they're trying to keep the ball alive by this fellow, David Solomona. But nothing seems to come off for them. He wasn't in a good position, Platt. He was going the inside route. And Solomona wanted him to come on the outside. Not been the best night for Michael Platt, who's last time played in the centre, evidently, Rochdale, what, 2004, something like that?
5 years ago, yeah.
But you look at the way that Warrington have played tonight, and you say to yourself, where has it been? What is it, last July that they won away from home? I mean, this has been
that's the Warrington story, isn't it?
Yeah, but this has been an outstanding performance. It hasn't been scraping a win. And I mentioned that it would be a great advantage to get off to that good start early, and I'm sure that Tony Smith would feel that way.
Well, there were two sides low on confidence. You can tell that from where they sit in the league table. And 3 or 4 50-50 decisions went in favour of Warrington. They got some early scores, and on the back of that, they've grown, and the Bulls have certainly diminished.
Reyes with the kick. And it's an invitation to Halley to take it, but he doesn't bother, and the ball finds its way over the line, the right side of the corner post for Warrington.
I think the Warrington side have sniffed something tonight, haven't they? The Bradford side have been quite lacklustre from the start of the game. I know Phil said there about the decisions they got against them from the referee, but they've been quite lacklustre. And as soon as Warrington sniffed that, Brazen and Monaghan had just played off the back of that. The options that they've had available to them is because they've sniffed that something has been on tonight, and you know, Bradford are way off the pace so far.
Rip Roarer at the KC Stadium, 14-all now, Hull and Wakefield.
Surrender! Stand!
Dave Halley waiting at dummy half as Newton gets to his feet. Plays it here to, and this now is Langley.
We've been admiring the attacking qualities of the Wolves outfit, but I'm sure that Tony Smith, and hopefully we'll speak to him later on the Red Button show, but he must have been very happy with the way that they've muscled up. Forwards have done their job, and they've worked as a unit. Completely the opposite we've seen from Bradford tonight.
I suppose probably the first thing he decided he would shore up when he arrived at Warrington was, first of all, I suppose, the confidence, and then he would try and sort the defence out. Well, and the evidence of the 58 and 40 seconds we've seen here tonight, he's achieved a lot in that department. This is Johnson.
Move that need! No, play on. Go.
Nicky Hyam. And Harrison just loses his footing as the tackle comes in from Sam Burgess.
Another big difference as well, Eddie, is the fact that Warrington non-stop talking to each other. Take it up, you come on the inside. And everybody has been working as a unit, and it's been noticeable the absence that we've seen from Bradford.
This is Westwood. And Huddersfield against Leeds is the Saturday night fare for you on Sky Sports from the Super League. That should be an absolute cracker, it really should. Second play third. And we've got a big stadium there at the Gal Farm, but I know that they are looking forward to a great crowd, as we are at Murrayfield in Edinburgh for the Magic Weekend in a couple of weeks' time. And there's the website and the telephone number if you need any information about Magic Weekend. 08 444 777 113. This is a chance here for for Chris Hicks rather, and Hicks has got a hat-trick. And what on earth has happened to Bradford? And Steve McNamara, as Steve-O says, as Phil Clark said rather earlier on, it must be like sitting in a dentist chair, but I tell you what, he hasn't got any anaesthetic. He's having teeth extracted here by the second, and he's feeling every one of them. And they're feeling it just as much, the Bradford supporters. But Chris Hicks has come up with a hat-trick. He's raced to 7 tries for 2009 here tonight.
And again, it was a poor pass from Terry Newton. Lack of concentration yet again. It bounced off the would-be receiver. They regain possession. That really was very poor indeed. Fair play. Hat-trick time. It was a good fend. You take your opportunities. He's had a big game. That was poor play by Matt Cook, and the combination of the hook and Terry Newton. He'll be delighted, as will the Warrington fans. Not many came over the Pennines to support them, and I must say, this is probably one of the lowest crowds that we've seen at Oxford for many a day.
Chris Hicks turns his 4 into 6. 52 points to 16. It's only the third time that Bradford have conceded 50 or more in the Super League era. This is their second worst concession. 66-4 against St Helens in 2005. Coincidentally, 50-22 against Saints in 2002, but that was at Valley Parade. And the third time then in the Super League era that they have shipped in 50 or more in a home game. And a lot of the Bradford fans and there are not that many of them here, are already making for the exits.
And the ones that are staying, they are booing the players. It's never nice to get booed by your home fans, but it has been a very poor showing, I'm afraid. Warrington won't mind. They produce far better skills, more control with the handling. Team spirit is now blossoming, and you just fear now that as we approach the final minutes of this game that Warrington will be after more points.
They are here with Bridge, and he stabs it down the line. Jalala to the rescue, quite close to his own try line though, and Harrison in there quickly with the tackle. You say in the closing moments, Steve-O, we've still got 17 minutes to go here. This could be anything. It really could. It could be anything for Warrington.
I think some of the
oh dear me, look what
supporters...
comes up for them next week, Phil. Saints Bradford next Friday.
Get any easier, does it?
Wait, Gareth, wait.
He's having the bottom set taken out next week.
Or maybe he's having implants for what's been expected tonight.
Wait.
But in any other season, Saints Bradford, that is a blue ribbon fixture in any other year than this. Who knows, it might be. I mean, Bradford don't have the best record at Knowsley Road, but if you want to go and you want to put a marker down for the season, having beaten the champions here last Friday, have a go next Friday against the team sitting at the top of the table.
And sometimes it's easier when you're playing poorly and everything seems against you. It's actually easier playing away from home. You know, the crowd doesn't get on your back. As we've seen tonight, the Bradford fans have just got on the back. There's a lot of booing now, a lot of people walking away, and you can see the Bradford players are dejected playing at home. They can perhaps go away next week with a little bit of energy and excitement and try and produce something to get their season kick-started.
Danny Brough dropping a goal at the KC Stadium against his former club. Wakefield are ahead by a point, 15-14. Here we know, I think it's going to be Warrington's night. But Matt King.
That was forward on the last, that'll be the turnover. Not surprisingly, with the scoreline at 52-16, that Warrington want to give it plenty of air. Just behind the big fella, Matt King. Look at that line of defence from Warrington. The side that we've often referred to as the yo-yo side. They certainly come here to play tonight.
Wait. Go.
Well, Chris Hicks has got 28 points in this match so far tonight. He's closing in on the points in the match record held by Graham Appo against Halifax in 2003. He got 34 that night. Hicks only needs 6 more to equal it. There's a record on the line here. Justin Harris is in the list, by the way. 24 points for Warrington against Sheffield. I didn't know you were this old. 1996.
Well, I think I played my debut in 94, so I'm a little older than that as well.
Fair enough. Down to Bill on the side. Bill. Well, we'll go to Bill in a moment because Warrington here are on the attack here. John Clark gives it to Breers. He slides the kick in. They will score. They will score with Mickey Hyam underneath the sticks. And it's Mickey Hyam's second try tonight. Got the bizarre one right at the start of this second half. Warrington, they cannot believe their supporters what they're witnessing here. It has to be one of their best displays, certainly of 2009. That's an obvious statement. But it has to be one of their best displays in Super League. This surely, if you look at the scoreline, it has to be.
Pretty difficult to assess though, Eddie. How bad is Bradford? Their defence has been shot to pieces throughout this entire game. A beautiful kick though. It was a shocking pass when it bounced, let it bounce, and they snaffle it up. And from that position, Breers, the magical little chip through. Mickey Hyam knew exactly where that was going.
10 tries.
And so did Lee Breers.
10 tries, Steve-O. This is the 10th.
Beautiful.
They've all been high quality, haven't they? I mean, there was the bizarre one at the start of the second half, I know. But they've been crafted, they've been skilled, and the Bradford fans can't believe what they're watching.
Well, there'll be one or two Warrington fans who have memories back from 2001 when Bradford actually went over to Warrington and put 84 points on the scoreboard. I don't know whether Warrington can inflict that much pain. Tony Smith will be hoping they continue to do, because it's all good for confidence when your players get over the try line.
Well, they look as though, and look at Mickey Himes' face, and a big smile on the coach's face. But Mickey Himes' face just seems to indicate that they're not going to take their foot off the gas here. They look really focused, they look really determined.
Well, they've got to get a few points back. They've been hammered throughout this year. I think before this game, what was it, minus 123 or something like that?
It was. This is doing them a great favour, isn't it, tonight? Well, Tom Alberson is on there, number 29 for his Super League debut. What a match to come into when your team are 58-16 down.
Yeah, if there's ever a time where a youngster says, well, I think I'll sit on the bench if you don't mind, coach, but you've got to start somewhere and pick up the pieces.
Hicks has got 30 points now, closing in on that record. 34 from Graham Appo. There is Tom Alberson. He's only 18. He's a product of the East Leeds Amateur Club. It's the team and the club that produced Danny Maguire. And he's an ex-academy international. Monaghan with the kick downfield for Warrington. Hadjalala's underneath it on the first bounce.
And he won't be the first youngster to come into the top grade and get a hammering and go on to become a very good player. And let's hope that is the case with Tom Alberson.
Let's go down to Bill now. We'll get you eventually, Bill.
The only downside for Warrington Wolves tonight is the injury to Louis Anderson. We saw him come off with what looked like a rib problem, and it is confirmed it's rib cartilage. He's not going to go back on. They do have a bit of a breather now, Warrington. 9-day turnaround before the next game, but that is a big game on current form. They're at home to Huddersfield Giants, I think, Sunday week.
Indeed so. High kick. Riley safe underneath it and just gets through the would-be tackler and gets through Sykes, and off he goes. Riley, is this another 90-metre try from him? No, they get him down and he's lost the ball. Knock on.
Well, it deserved more, didn't it? He really got clattered to the ground, but I think that just shows that this Bradford defence is very poor. Had the opportunity to put him down and just wafting at him.
Well, Chris Hicks was probably hoping there they'd have another chance at getting this Super League point-scoring record for Warrington, but do you happen to know who holds the record in Super League for the most points in a match? It's someone who scored 42 from 4 tries and 13 goals for Leeds against Huddersfield in July 1999.
Did he start with Warrington?
He started with Warrington. There's a big hint.
And did he go to that awful game, Rugby Union?
He did once upon a time, but he saw the light and came back. And he is now with us on the gantry. There he is, Iestyn Harris, 42 points. Do you remember that one, July 99?
I do, yeah. We actually we had a very, very good win there against Huddersfield and got beat the week after against St Helens. So, you know, it doesn't always go right. But, yeah, that was a fantastic game for us. But this game tonight, just watching the two differences from the sides, Bradford look as though they're playing in half speed. Where Warrington get the ball, it's like we're watching them on fast forward. Everything seems quicker, everything seems with more passion, and the Bradford side just seemed to be at half pace the whole game.
Touch judge is on, saw something in the tackle there.
The tackle was complete. John Clark grabbed the head and pulled it back.
Bit of a grapple tackle, I think, was the report from the touch judge. And John Clark is the culprit. Penalty Bradford.
I must say, it didn't look too bad. I've seen worse. Okay. More of a facial rather than a grapple tackle.
Well, Bradford will take whatever's offered.
Yeah, they've got to it. In fact, the referee, Thierry Alibert, looked more forceful than when he in motion what it was.
Here's Matt Cook. Now then, this is a test of the Warrington defence, isn't it? Langley. Not the best. They've lost a lot of momentum. They've lost a lot of momentum there. Lynch. It's lost again. Went backwards though, so they come once more with Burgess. Halley. Here's Cook once again. He's tackled them before. They've showed a good deal of resilience in defence, haven't they, Warrington?
Been brilliant.
Hope I haven't put the hex on them. Here's Jeffries. I might have done. Ghosted through them, Ben Jeffries. Consolation for Bradford. nothing else. 26th consecutive appearance for Bradford, the 180th appearance of his British career that began at Wakefield in 2003, and that's only the second try that he scored this year. And his former club Wakefield, as you probably saw earlier, they are leading at the KC Stadium, but Jeffrey's not bothered about this. But Tony Smith will be bothered about that defence, even though it's late on in the game.
Yeah, he'll put a definitely mark on that. That was not good, but this was a good effort. One of the very few occasions, you know, that Ben Jeffries has actually asked the question of the Warrington defence, and when he did, it was a neat dummy. He's capable of scoring tries like that, but he knows that it's mere consolation.
It is, and Paul Sykes to try and add the extras if he can, give it a little bit more respectability. He's managed it. 22 points to 58.
Well, I said we might go near the 100.
Not so far off.
80 up on the board already.
And Mickey Hyam looks like he's limping off the field right now. He's replaced by Ben Westwood. Morley comes off as well for Warrington, but he trots off. But Hyam has a problem, that's for sure. Warrington restart, having conceded the 6. Here is Nick Scruton for Bradford. Tony Smith is well pleased with the evening's work from his charges. 22 points to 58 at Odsal. It's not a bad scoreline, is it? It's something to build on for the weeks and months ahead.
Oh, I'll be pleased with it, mainly due to the fact that he knows that at certain times when Bradford did apply the pressure, there was equal to the task. OK, let's just wipe away that poor effort that allowed Ben Jeffries through. But he said it would take time. And this may be the start.
Well, you've got to reach rock bottom before you come back up, haven't you? And there's only Celtic Crusaders beneath them in Super League before tonight. Here goes Johnson again.
I think with Tony Smith saying it's going to take time, is how much of that he actually believes, and how much was it taking pressure off the Warrington players, because they have been under pressure recently. With him coming out and saying that publicly, it just give everyone just saying, well, give them time, you know, they're going to come through. And I think he's done a really good job of taking pressure off his players there.
And I think it also helps that the message got through when they allowed Gleeson to go to Wigan. I think that sent out a warning bell to everyone else that if they really don't want to settle into this club. And I must say that when Gleeson went, it was a very terse comment from the club's officials, wasn't it?
It was. Well, he'd indicated, I think, that he wanted to go to the NRL at some stage, and I think wisely Warrington cashed in.
Yep.
The money was there from Wigan, and it was.
Well, Tony
Take it
Smith
and put it in the bank.
Tony Smith has always been a coach that says to his players, if you don't want to play under me or at the club, etc., then you'll be given the opportunity to go.
We've seen Mickey Hyam limping off. Bill, is this win for Warrington coming at a cost?
It doesn't look too serious, Eddie. He's actually back up on his feet now. He's got a bit of ice. I think it's a bang directly on the kneecap. He's just had a nod towards me and said it's nothing too serious.
And he gave a little smile at the screen as well, Mickey Hyam. Oh, a bit high from Bridge. Flattered into Paul Sykes then, and Sykes felt this.
Oh, did he ever? It's a bad one. Head jolted back on the shoulders of Sykes.
Well, only Salford, 56 tries, had conceded more than Warrington's 48 before tonight. So they've certainly tightened their defence up a little bit by the looks of things. Their last win at Odsal, by the way, April 2006. 22 points to 18, though, then, the first of 3 visits that year to this ground. Here is Tagzawala, and he just takes a slip under the attention of Breers.
Well, it's amazing. We're nearly 4 minutes from the end, and that's about the best flowing moment that we've seen from Bradford throughout this night. I think it went to 8 or 9 pairs of hands there, something that they failed to do in the previous minutes.
Langley, 20 metres out. 4 tackles gone. Burgess thinking about the kick through, gives it to Tajirala. Here is Burgess again. His foot was in touch anyway. Clark intercepted the pass.
I think the voice box for the Bradford Bulls is sitting on the sideline, Eddie. Paul Deacon's importance to them cannot be overestimated at the moment. They need him back as soon as humanly possible, because he really is, has been, as I said before, the central nervous system. Everything radiates from Paul Deacon. His kicking game, his passing, and I think more importantly, what he says to his teammates around there. They need him back as soon as possible.
Yes, Paul just behind Terry Newton there. And Terry looks a bit pensive as well, doesn't he? This has not been a good night for Bradford.
Go.
They would have gone 9th tonight if they'd won, ahead of Wigan, leading the chasing pack. This now is Westwood. The PA announcer's just given out the local man of the match to the captain, Andy Lynch, and I would imagine that for any player on the back end of a 58-22 scoreline to be named man of the match would be a bit of an embarrassment, but sponsors have to be furnished, don't they? Here's Ben Harrison. He won't want the man of the match award tonight, will he?
No, you're right, Eddie, and I often wonder why they even bothered. If there's no one out there that's worthy of it, then save it and double it up for the following. I know that they've got responsibilities with the sponsorship.
Responsibilities to the sponsors, yeah.
But I would be hard-pressed to pick out a good player. Maybe the skill factor that we saw for certain moments throughout this game from David Solomona, but the rest, I'm afraid, no.
Well, Andy Lynch has got it.
On the flip side, from the Warrington side, Lee Breers has just controlled this game from minute 1 to where we are now, minute 78. Even in these dying stages here of this game, he's just drilling the ball into touch, walking to the scrum, killing the speed out of the game. Now they know they've done a job here tonight, and they'll be really pleased with what they've done.
Scoreline tells it all, really. It's been virtually one-way traffic. It's going to be one of their best performances in Super League, this, in terms of the scoreboard.
Justin, I'll just pose the question to you in regards, you're involved in coaching now. Would you perhaps, if you were in Tony Smith's shoes, give the captaincy to Lee Breers? You know, you've spoken about his control it out there. I know that Adrian Morley is the skipper now, but maybe that could just lift him. Maybe it's something that he wants.
No, I don't think so. I think Adrian Morley in his own right is a great captain. He's a good leader, and it's what you need in your side, a real good leader up front, and that's what Adrian Morley's done. Lee Breers is very good playing behind the dominant pack, and that's what he's done tonight. Let's see Lee Breers when they're not as dominant. That's when we'll see whether Lee Breers is really playing well.
Lovely little chip over the top from the man they're talking about, Lee Breers, but Tajilala was alert to the danger. Into the last minute we go. It has been comprehensive, Phil, hasn't it?
I don't think it's been the best, has it? We will see. Seen some fantastic rugby on a Friday night. This hasn't been one of those games, and Warrington have played well, but they've played against a side who are well below their best. Deacon back, Morrison, month's time, things change around, a couple of wins under the belt. The Bradford Bulls may look a completely different team, but tonight it has at times looked like a training run for them. They've almost had opposed, they've been dress rehearsal for Warrington with some of the moves and some of the play that they've done, and now it's almost no pressure on them. They're just keeping the ball alive and
Wakefield have scored a very impressive win at Hull FC. Meanwhile, this 58-22 scoreline for Warrington, one of their biggest away wins, but not the biggest in Super League. That was 64-6 against Castleford a few years ago, April the 17th. They seem to like April, don't they? 64-6 at Castleford. Exactly the same time of the year, exactly the same day. It's 3 years to the day. There's the full-time siren. It is relief for Bradford, and their supporters make known their dismay, but for Warrington, a great win. You have to say, you have to question just how good Warrington were or how bad Bradford were, but you can only play what's in front of you, and you can only win as well as Warrington have tonight. Hicks kicked 9 from 10, and he hit a post. They scored 10 tries. Hicks got 3 of them, and Hyam got 2. So it's something for Warrington and Tony Smith to build on, Phil.
I said before the game, I thought one of these were good enough to get to the top 4 at the end of the season. You'd have to say at this stage that would look more like Warrington, but I still think Bradford have the personnel available to be one of the top sides this year. It's going to look a long, long road though from here tonight.
Well, let's hear from the Warrington Wolves captain, shall we? Adrian Morley. He said it was a big night for them. They were live on Sky and he wanted to prove to everybody just what a good side they were. He's talking to Bill.
Adrian, you did say that you felt there was a big performance coming from your side. Did you imagine it'd be quite that big?
No, I thought we'd put a spirited performance in. It's been a pretty miserable Easter period, and we was desperate to get out there and put a few things right, and it all went according to plan tonight, and we're delighted.
Does that scoreline really exceed any expectations you had?
No, I always thought a win like this was just around the corner. It's just a case of putting it together, and confidence is low, but you know, a win like that will really lift the team spirit, and I'm sure you'll see a number of wins now.
Is that maybe an indication of the potential that is in this side that should, by rights, be coming out?
Yeah, that's a true statement. You know, we're a team packed full of really quality players, and it's just a case of bringing that out, and hopefully tonight will be the springboard, and as I said about confidence, that'll raise, and yeah, we should kick on now.
Yeah, it's the Warrington way, isn't it? You do something like this and then probably fall flat in your face. I'm not suggesting you will, but you know, that's the way it can go.
No, you're right. I mean, we want to be as consistent as we can. It's been a terrible year so far, but hopefully, you know, we can really do something this year.
Thanks very much indeed. Let's bring the man of the match in, Chris Hicks. 30 of the 58 points, Chris. Congratulations. There's the champagne. Well, as I said to Adrian, I mean, this generally is a really close, tight game against Bradford, so that score will probably take some believing, doesn't it?
Yeah, we thought we'd be in for a real tough tussle for the full 80 minutes, but they were a bit off today, and we turned it on. So it was good to get a bit of confidence, and hopefully we can move forward from here.
You can only play what's in front of you, can't you?
Yeah, that's right. We've had a rough trot, and it was good to put a good performance in like that tonight.
And I suppose now the key to that is backing up.
Yeah, that's right. This is just the start, so we've got to get a bit of momentum now, and hopefully we can do that.
Obviously, changes in the back room. You know, Tony Smith's come in. Bit of player in and out. Is there a different mood in the camp? Has things changed much?
Oh, not really. We're a good group of guys, and we believe in what we're doing. And you know, like I said, we've had a rough trot, but we've got faith in our ability, and hopefully this is a bit of a turning point for us.
Well done tonight. You get champagne. You also get £100 to go to a charity of your choice. Where's that going to go?
Families United in Warrington.
Well done tonight, Chris.
Oh, could I just say hello to my old man, Big Billy up in Old Bar. Miss you, mate.
Big smile from Chris Hicks tonight. Why not? 30 of those 58 points belonging to him and the Man of the Match award. 22-58 Warrington have won here. A scoreline you would never have predicted, and who would have predicted that come the start of the year? Hull FC 14, Wakefield 21. Hull with 5 wins from 5 at the start, and they are clinging on to 8th spot as a result of that. It's a long time now since they were celebrating there. And Wakefield, they have shot up to 3rd place in the table, so it's 2nd against 4th tomorrow now. Huddersfield against the Rhinos here on Sky Sports. And what does it mean to Warrington? They're up to 11th, and Bradford now take their place next to bottom of the table. There is only the Celtic Crusaders beneath them at this particular point in time. Steve-O, how good were Warrington? How bad were Wakefield?
Well, we expected a fight back, didn't we, right from the start.